Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Talia. Thank you for being here. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Nobody tagged me, but I'm still gonna do it because this is my favorite tag of the whole year, and I feel like this is the only tag that I do just because it's like super fun. Before I even get started, if you do want to support my channel and buy me a coffee, the link is in the description box. Of course you don't have to, but if you do, I will appreciate it so much. So let's get started with this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what was your favorite book of the year in the comment section below. I would love to know. Okay, so the first question, it is the best book I read this year so far. And for this one, I did have a total of 3 books, but if I were to choose only one, it'd have to be Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. This was such an amazing book. It was very emotional, great writing. I also related to some of the characters. I feel like this is my favorite immigration story of a family that comes to the United States, in which they left their home country, Colombia, and you also get to know a little bit of the violence in Colombia. I did read a little summary of the author, and I just connected with her so much, and I resonated with her a lot because we went through the same situations in life. That way the story connected with me so much, and it reminded me my parents' story. So that's why this one is my favorite book of the year, and I truly recommend you guys reading it. So the second question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2021. I do not read a lot of sequels. The only series that I read was Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, and it is technically a sequel right now because it is the second book of the series. There is a third book coming out, and I'm so excited. But Chain of Iron, of course, it was my favorite. It put me through so many emotions at the end of the book. If you have read it, you do know what I'm talking about. My eyes almost popped out because of how surprised and shocked I was at the ending of 2 of our favorite characters in this book. Yes, this book was very slow paced in the beginning. Of course, I feel like she took a little bit more time for the reader to really get to know the characters. Like, for example, we had, what's her name? We do get to know Grace Blackthorn's history. Also follow Cordelia and James when they are happily married. It's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it, and it is pretty long, but it is definitely very worth it. So yeah, this is the best sequel that I read so far in 2021. Hopefully I can read a lot more sequels. Next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For this one, it has to be No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell ThurnBull. And this is a fantasy, an urban fantasy fiction, and it is an adult. Sounds freaking crazy, and it's one of the books that I am very excited to read. It will be released on September 7th. Basically a story of myths and legends. Follows Lena, who gets the news that her brother was shot and killed by Boston cops, and it looks like a case of police brutality, but it soon reveals that it's something bigger. Monsters are real, and they want everyone to know it. So it is a case of police brutality. It turns out to be something completely stranger. There's werewolves, people disappearing, there are suicides and hate crimes, and also protests that erupt globally. So this book just sounds freaking amazing. I cannot wait to buy it and read it. The next one is my biggest disappointment. Holy crap, I think a lot of you guys are gonna come for me because I have seen a lot of booktubers and bookstagrammers fell in love with this book. For me, it wasn't it. It was We Were Liars by Lockhart. I was so excited to read this book. I saw it on TikTok, I saw it everywhere, but for me it was a huge disappointment because it did not shock me. I did not care for any of the characters. It was definitely very fast-paced and short, but because of that, I feel like the author did not take a long time for the reader to actually get to know them. Next question is my biggest surprise, and for this one it was a thriller. I freaking love thrillers, and I did not expect to love it that much, but it was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a mystery thriller and a young adult, and the way that the author just incorporated like a murder case from the beginning to the end, it was just amazing. It made me so intrigued, and it made me even like try to solve the murder. The author threw so many plot twists, and it's one of those books that you think that in the beginning you think something, but at the end it turns out to be something completely different. So I did rate it a 5 out of 5, and it was a big surprise just because a lot of people did talk about it, and sometimes when books are very hyped, they turn out to be something like not even exciting. So yes, it was my biggest surprise, and I recommend you reading it if you're looking for a really good thriller. Next question is my favorite new author, and that is Holly Jackson, just because A Good Girl's Guide to Murder did surprise me a lot, and I fell in love with her writing, and she's a really great thriller writer and a mystery writer. Holly Jackson, I'm gonna be collecting all your work. I can't wait to read the rest of the series. Another of my favorite authors is Jason Reynolds. I think I did mention it in the beginning of the year if you do watch my vlogs. Jason Reynolds is an amazing writer, a poet. I've read about like 5-6 books of him, and they're so amazing, especially if you're an educator or if you are going to educate children. That he writes amazing books that have to do with race and racism, especially in the Black community and Black youth. So please check out Jason Reynolds if you haven't yet. So the next one is the newest fictional crush. I actually don't develop a lot of crushes when it comes to reading, only when I read Cassandra Clare. But this year, I developed a crush on a fictional character, and that is Ben Stevens from While We Were Dating by Stephanie, by Jasmine Glory. He was just described as handsome. He was described kind of like a feminist. He was very respectful, and he had like a really good heart, and I just fell in love with him. I found myself fantasizing about this man, even though he's not like real. Since it was a romance book, the sex scenes, whew. Next one is newest favorite character, and for that one it is Maverick Carter from Concrete Rose. He is such a good character. He is funny, he is going through so many struggles, but he does find ways to pick himself right up. Angie Thomas just writes him incredibly. You know him from The Hate You Give, so it's very amazing to see a character develop so well. Maverick Carter is an amazing freaking character. I can't wait to see the movie adaptation for this, if there is gonna be one, but if there is, I'm fucking here for it. I have been doing that series where I read sad books for a whole week. I have looked up some books that have made people cry. So far, none of them have made me weep and cry. One that I will never forget, and one that I will keep in my heart forever, is Ghost Boys by Jewell Parker Rhodes. This book was just emotional as heck. Like right from the beginning, I started crying. There were tears. It is a children's middle grade book, so it's perfect for educators who are teaching middle grade students, and it follows 12-year-old Jerome, who is shot by a police officer, mistakes his toy gun for a real threat. The way that this is written, it's just so devastating. So now, as a ghost, he observes the devastation that's been unleashed in his community, and then starts realizing that what happened to him was a brutal killing. He doesn't notice this until he meets another ghost, and that ghost is Emmett Till. I'm hoping you guys have heard his story, and a freaking devastating story. It still gives me chills, and it still makes me super angry, even though it is a fictional story. I love the way that the author incorporated it in him, because I feel like a lot of people should know his story. And so Emmett Till helps Jerome process what happened. Both of them are on a journey towards recognizing how historical racism may have led the events that ended his life. Very fast-paced and short book if you are looking for something fast, at the same time very educational. Okay, so the next one is a book that made you happy. For this one, Unearthed Briefly Gorgeous by Vuong. This book was very sad, and there are some triggers in this book. The end, right when I closed the book, I felt immensely happy for so many reasons. First of all, Ocean Vuong's writing is just so beautiful. There's just so many meaning to his writing. The way that he writes is just so poetic. And even though I'm not a huge fan of poems and I did get lost at times, I went back and reread. It makes you think about life a lot more. This made me super happy. The next one is the most beautiful book you've bought so far. I'm not sure if it means the cover or like just like the beautiful book overall. We're just gonna go with the cover. For that one is The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And I don't even have to explain myself because look at this whole gorgeous dark green cover. Dark green is my favorite color. As you guys can see, maybe my room is painted dark green and I just love earthy tones, and this book is just so beautiful, and especially the character in front of the book. It's the most beautiful book that I have bought this year. And also, so the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So this is basically all the books that I have on my want to read books on Goodreads. I'm hoping that I can finish reading all of them before the end of the year, but there's some that I do want to read and that I have to read. Those are the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert, and hopefully I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but I have heard of this series everywhere and people just gush about it. It makes me excited, so I want to read that one. Another one is a lot like Adios by Alexis Daria. She is the writer of You Had Me at Hola, basically all. I hope you guys enjoyed this tag, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!